Okay, so let's go back to basic things, and I hope everything is as focused as it will be. Anyway, so let's go to system. You cannot see the keys here. Anyway, I don't think it's a big deal. If you get the radio, you have model, system, return, page to the left and to the right. So we go to system, which is this one right here that you can see my finger. The light will go on and off, but you catch. And I will try to look at what I'm doing the best way possible. So here you have radio setup and RX channel. I have AETR, so aileron, elevator, throttle, and rudder. Aileron, elevator, throttle, and rudder. How it is here. So basically this is it. You have more global functions, trainer, we don't use that, calibration, the calibration for the sticks and all that. Anyway, 7 pages of radio setup, the version and all that. Now we get out and we go to model, which is on your right side, and then we go page to the left. So first thing that I want to show you is, so first you have here the setup, and this radio is the 4-in-1. Why the 4-in-1? Because I already had a bunch of receivers. So the receivers that I was using before, this I just have the case, but I will show you anyway. The receivers that I was using before were these Hobby King and also Flysky. I don't know if this is focused or not, doesn't look like it. But anyway, these are Flysky, and they are the this is the new version, and I was using the previous one, this one, just simple Flysky. So this is the 2A and I have the other one. So this allows me, give me a second. So this allows me to run these small receivers. They are really tiny and they are really cheap. In all fairness, I've had some issues with them. They come with this, so you can solder it as you want. You can solder it like this, or to save space I put them in reverse. So these receivers, they cost like $10 each, about 8 euros each or less. So I just buy a few and hope for the best. They also have some 6 channels radios, and that's what I use on the Super. But mainly I'm still using the old ones, because the old ones for me have been more reliable, and I don't need the extra range or extra features or anything. I just need them to work. So okay, go back to the top. So yeah, model name you change here. I have a timer, 6 minutes, and then you can set more timers. E-limits are extended limits, so you can use like 120%. I don't know which is the extended limit by heart, maybe 140. So you can just use more servo throw. Sometimes it's useful. Then is just the internal RF, so the internal module. In my case is the multi. It has a lot of different types. So I'm using these two Flysky and Flysky 2A, which is the newest version. but it has a lot of stuff. Flysky, Futaba, I mean, it has a lot. You can go online and search for this for sure. So where is the Flysky? No. Okay. So after that, here is the bind. So you put the receiver binding and you just click here and it goes. And yeah, no failsafe, nothing of that sort. I have, oops, sorry. So I have here this. We don't want heli setup. I don't care about this. Flight modes as well. Inputs, mixes, and outputs. So this is something that you should care. Curves as well. You can set different curves, but honestly you don't really need. I set up just to try it, and so these are custom curves, but you don't need to set them here. I didn't know at the time, and this was something that I did as an experiment, is logical switches. So we have the switches here, pressing switches, and you see the SA. So this SA is one that I wanted to try. So basically I wanted two switches to do the same thing. So this switch here, which is permanent, if I click, I have front dig. And if I press the momentary switch, I have front dig. So you see, both of them, it doesn't matter, only one needs to be activated. So when you see later on to prepare my dig, I have L01, which is a logical switch. I never use this one, to be honest, but I wanted to try, so that's why it's like that. I just use the pressure switch. I always found with my radios, I didn't like the movement of on, off, especially on the throttle, when you are very sensitive, this action is too much and makes my thumb move. So I much rather have the pressure switches, which is much less effort, and it works for me much better. So special functions, I don't have anything. Telemetry the same. Display doesn't matter as well for this. Okay, so we know logical switch is basically using for the dig. Okay, curves doesn't matter that much. Outputs, so here on the outputs is where you are setting up your endpoints here, minimum and maximum, and your sub trim. Your direction also you change here, inverse and not inverse. And then it has more stuff, which some of them I don't really know what's going on, but this is where you inverse the direction. So it's funny, it took me a little bit, even if I had the programming on my previous radio, it took me a little bit to program this one because it works a little bit differently, and actually we are starting with the outputs first. Maybe it's not the best, but we'll see. So channel 1 is steering, front steering. Channel 2 is elevator, so you have the throttle. Channel 3 is throttle for the rear motor, where you control the overdrive, underdrive. Channel 4, not really using it for anything except for the suck down winch, which is aileron on the Super. And then on the Super as well, channel 6 is what I'm using on this slider for the rear steer. So we go back. No, we don't need to go back. Curves. So the only mix I have, but you need to have this like what is channel 1? Channel 1 is the rudder, channel 2 is the elevator, channel 3 is the throttle, and here is where I have the mix for the front dig. So channel 3 is this one, and it's the same as, so basically this is the same as the elevator, except when I press L1. So when I press L1, it turns off this mix. So if I have it like this, it's 100%. If I press L1 on the pressed here or here, remember the logical switch, it cuts down and gives me on the elevator throttle input only for the front motor. So if we go in, edit, elevator, weight 100%, no offset, is really simple, and then here switch, it's L1, L01. But could be only the pressure switch, because mainly I never use this one, it's just a novelty. So that's it. When you go back here, return, the rest is, the source is the rudder. So you assign channels what you want. Channel 1 is the rudder, which is here for your steering, but you just don't put any mix whatsoever. If you want to add the mix, it's a long press and insert after, and then you have, let me go back now. You see, on channel 1 you inserted a mix. This is how you insert mixes. I don't want it, so I will delete. Okay. The one thing on here is, I hope you get it right and you don't mess up, because if you change something, it will save and that's it, and you cannot go back very easily. But this is very easy to do backups as well, so I advise you to do backups of your models. It gets stored in a card. If you have problems, you can just get it back from there. So mix, it's the only mix is this one. Now, how do I do the dual rate and all that funny stuff with this stick? Because in the end, this stick is the one that does different stuff. So we go back and we go to inputs. So input, you see rudder is 100%, and on elevator you see the E70. So the E70, if we go here, so this is elevator, is the throttle. You see I have here is the E70 is the exponential. So instead of making the curves where it was before, you can just do it here. Okay, so you can do how much you want. I think I have it set up as 70 even on my Pro. If you want to have curves that are not symmetrical, I think you cannot do it here. So here you can only do symmetrical ones. You would need to assign another curve here. So you would go, where is, I think it's here, custom, curve 1. And then on the other menu for curves, you adjust a symmetrical curve. Okay, Expo 70. So this is how you make the curves. I believe I only have the curve on this one, and then on throttle it follows the same mix, so it's the same. And the other position, if we go back here, I have it as E100, so no exponential. So first line is the pressure switch here on my right side. This one, when I press, you see the SD, You see there? Okay, let me press again. See, SD 100%. So this gives me, when I press this switch, gives me 100% control of the rear motor, front and back, because like I explained you before, normally I don't have 100% like at all. This line here we will skip, okay, for now. And then here we have, both of these are the dual rate. You see the SF is black, so now I'm on the low setting. This means I have throttle, THR, rear 11%, front 35%. And this is, if you remember here, you see there, 11% does not allow me to make a reverse, but it allows me, when I'm mixing like this, it allows me to decelerate or retard, whatever you want to call it, the rear motor, and also to accelerate. So this is what we are talking now, and we are going to talk, what I'm going to explain as well, is the dual rate function. So I have this switch here, it's in the low setting, so I have this and this. If I switch to the high setting, I can decelerate a lot more and I accelerate a lot more. So those are the two settings that we are talking about and how to program it. So let's go back. So you see SF is the switch here when it's on the low setting, so I put it down, downwards. I have 11 reverse, 35 front. If I flip it up, I have 65 front, 30 rear. To do this, you have to do like half of the curve independently. So you go here, you press edit, and you put input throttle, source throttle, weight 11. So this is going down. See, this is the 11, and you have to say here, you put here the switch, and which side do you want? So you want the X less than 0, so this side of the curve. So what we are adjusting is the left side of the curve, the deceleration. The acceleration we are not controlling here. So the weight is 11 is where you control how much of the curve you want. Like if you want more, wait, why is it not changing? Yeah, should be changing here, I believe. So this is how much you control of this curve. I was under the impression that this curve should be moving while I'm changing this. I don't know why it's not moving, but this is what it does. If I go return, so this is the 11 is the lower part of the curve, 35 is the higher part of the curve. So you make edit. Actually, what you can do, once you set up this one, you can put copy, and I think you can paste again, and then you just edit the one that you copy. So we can try that in a different way. Okay, let me put here copy. So let me put here, okay, press again, edit, and you just increase to 38, and you'd switch the switch how you want to do it. So let's delete this one because this one is too much. Delete. Okay, so the same goes for this. The higher ones is just you have more weight, and the switch is reversed. So when you put the switch down, it gives the low range. When you put the switch up, it gives you high range of control. So basically, they are programmed the same way. Just the switch is in reverse. You see the switch is down and the switch is up. SF up, SF down, and it controls the dual rate. If you remember, I told you before that when I press the dig, I didn't want to make a reverse. So this is how I did it. So this is controlled. Wait, let me go back. This is controlled. It's 5% weight. 5% weight of throttle. So throttle only has 5% going down. When I press the SA, which is this switch here. So when I press the SA, I only have 5% going down and 0 going up. No, not 0 going up. Sorry. I only have 5% going down, and going forward I have whatever I normally have. Edit. So we go back, we see here X lower than 0, so we are controlling this part. When SA is pressed, this switch here on the left, the pressure switch on the left, and the weight is only 5%, so I don't make a reverse. And basically that's it. So we have here rudder, elevator, throttle, aileron. We don't care so much, or at least I don't care so much, even though it does the suck down winch. And then here I have slider 2, which is the slider on the right, for the rear steer of the Super. And this is is linear. The source is the slider. No exponential, no nothing. Is pretty straightforward, this one. And that's it. I think I reached the end. So here on the mixes, I have again 100% the S2, the slider for the rear steer, and oops. And here is where you adjust the trim. Where is sub trim? So here for the rear steer, here is where you adjust the trim, and then because I have the extended limits, let's see how much it gives me. I think 150, maybe 40, 50. So with the extended limits, you can get 150. But it depends what your server is doing or not. And for this, because like I told you, this actually is a copy of the Pro. I don't have anything set up for rear steer with endpoints and all that. There is minus 100. Just leave it as it was. So, and curves, logical switches. So actually, let me go back, go model, let me go to my Super, select model, it gives you the switch warnings. So here is the same programming, but you see here channel 6 is the trim, and the limits, the endpoints adjustment. So as a recap, I hope you liked the video. I hope it's useful for you, or it sheds some light of how at least I run the stick radio, because there's a lot of different ways to run stick radios. There are people, a lot of people, for example, with supers running individual motor. So for example, on the two gimbals, front and back runs on the left side, for example, runs the one motor, and left to right runs one servo, and then the other gimbal runs the other motor and the other servo. To me, personally, it doesn't make sense. When you have a radio that is capable of mixing, why do you need to use both throttles to go forward, on flat ground? You should only use two sticks when you need mixing, in my opinion. So this is what I try to do. I know I think it can be overwhelming, like oh, there's so much going on with the Sunwa, I just have the lever. Fair enough, I have a Sunwa as well. It works as far as pistol, as ergonomics, it works really well, but the fine-tuning, like the first input where you start to make overdrive, underdrive, at least on the radio that I tried, and I tried a few and it was the same, so I suppose they're all the same. The first start is too much, you don't have the finesse of the rear motor input. And with this you have the dual rate, and you can do whatever you want, basically. So yeah, it's more buttons, more stuff, but I got used to it surprisingly fast when I switched to stick radio. I've been doing it now for many years, and it works really well for me. I strongly advise it. This same programming, Radiomaster came out with a Radiomaster Pocket, which is a very good option. It's a smaller radio. This display is smaller, and it just has a pressure switch on the left side and only one slider on the right side, which is exactly the setup that I use. If I didn't have already two Zorros, I would probably buy a Pocket, even though it does not come with the module of 4-in-1. You can buy it on AliExpress, for example. You can buy the 4-in-1 module. I'm pretty sure you could just replace it and go from there, maybe adjust some firmware or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but I would love to give it a try, but I'm not going to spend 100 plus euros on a radio that I don't need just to have some fun. I have too many projects already. Also from Radiomaster, I should have been sponsored by Radiomaster by now. Radiomaster just came out with a pistol radio that runs HDX, exactly the same software. The programming should be exactly the same because it's the same software or firmware, or whatever you want to call it. So the programming should be the same. It has a dial right where, I think with the small 3D printed parts, that dial would just have a nice lever there. That radio comes with, or can come with the Express RLS, Express RLS, or with a 4-in-1 module, yeah, a 4-in-1 module. And it's about $160. Again, I would love to try it, to get my hands on one, to give it a go and program it, but I don't need, so I'm not going to. But I think they are good options for someone who wants to get in, and stick radios are fun, and you need to travel. A gimbal protector, which I don't have here. So you can easily 3D print the gimbal protector, and it just goes like this, and then like this, and it's very secure, so you can travel with it very easily. Overall, this is all I have to say about the radio, and I hope you liked the video. So take care, and if you have some doubts, leave some comments, and I'll try to get back to you. Bye bye. Cheers.